Send the tweet.
Get it together.
And we're live on the air.
Shoot, I know why.
Come on, man.
Because you didn't press save?
Because I didn't. Ready? I'm going to join this twice.
No!
Yeah.
On the air.
Mike's butt.
I'm going to break everything. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yell at, get out of here, kids!
Nope, still not there.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'm waiting. Oh, now I have to look at Jason's mug twice.
Yep.
Please.
There we go.
Okay.
Check. Good evening, Co-op fans. Here we go.
Whoop, whoop.
Alright, let's start our audio streams here. Everybody ready?
Don't cross
Yeah.
Don't cross the streams in 3, 2, 1. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Co-Opticast. It's episode number 129, Monday, August the 18th, 2014. The crew's back after, I guess it's been a month, 3 weeks? I think it's 3 weeks. Not quite as long as normal.
Our usual break.
Hopefully we'll be doing these a little more often now that we're getting into the fall season, and there'll be more games and news and everything else. And there's actually some pretty decent stuff to talk about today. But before we do that, let's talk about what we've been playing. And let's start with Mike. He's got a theme going on there.
I guess. I've been playing all fantasy games all the time.
Dark fantasy games, yeah.
Hey, bro, you like swords?
Yes, I do. So actually, not on my list. I actually played through the PT yesterday, the playable Silent Hill pants-shitting terror game, which is it's actually really good. If you have a PS4, you really should play it because it's. I don't really get scared with games. Even like really scary games that are super tense for a lot of people, it doesn't really bother me too much. And this one actually got to me, which is surprising. I can only name a handful of games that have done that, so it's highly recommended.
If you want like the real experience, turn off the lights and put on a pair of headphones and then void your bowels all over your sofa.
Yeah, it's stream it to a device on the toilet, I guess.
Is it just jump scares, or is it like
No, it's
That's good.
actually almost none of it is jump scares. There are a handful of them.
Okay.
And one of them is just I don't know. There's I don't want to spoil it, but one of them is definitely way worse than any of the others.
Okay.
Jason will probably talk about it a little bit more. But I have decided that I'm going to put my Vita to good use because I really don't have much else to play at the moment. I think we're all kind of in the same boat where we're kind of backlogging and biding our time until video games actually start coming out. So on the Vita, I've been playing Dragon's Crown because the Vita version of that just got released as a PS Plus free title, and I already had it on PS3, but I thought I'd give it another go. And
nice.
Starting over in that game, once you actually kind of understand it, because it's a straightforward brawler until it's not. Like there's a lot of weird puzzly things and your ability, like you kind of blindly put points into abilities that may or may not be useful. But since I got to start over, I played as a different class that I thought looked a little more interesting based on my play time. So
Sounds like Dark Souls.
yeah. And also I've been playing Soul Sacrifice Delta. I really liked the original Soul Sacrifice, and I played a bunch of it, and then I think something else came out pretty quickly after it, so I didn't get to put as much time in it as I wanted to, and then I saw that Delta was on. Delta's kind of, it's like a bunch of expansion content and quality of life improvements released as a separate game, and so I saw it was on sale for about $15, so I picked that up and have been starting over, and it's pretty fun. I mean, it's Monster Hunter without all the bullshit, essentially you're tasked with going and killing something, and you're just dropped right into a big boss arena, and you kill, sometimes you'll be killing a bunch of smaller mobs, or you'll be having a 10 or 15 minute fight against a huge monster that has multiple, body parts you can target and combo against. And it's super fun, and that game has 4-player co-op. So it's pretty fun. If you got $15 to spare and a lot of time, I'd definitely recommend it. It's one of the most unique things on the Vita. Jason and I are, we finished our run through of Dark Souls 2. Now we're on the DLC, and we were doing really well yesterday. We were rolling through, and then
F Dragons.
Well, no, I mean before that.
I
wish we were streaming it because Jason was like, "I'm gonna kill this guy," and I dodged and I fell off.
I pulled a lock.
He dodged and fell into a bottomless pit.
Yeah.
And then several minutes later, I opened a trap chest and got speared through the face because I had the camera turned around.
Yeah.
I had the camera turned around watching Jason because he was pulling a couple of mobs to deal with them, and I didn't want to get hit by anything, and then I got killed. So that was pretty great.
The great part was just me sitting there like paying attention to the mobs, and I hear this whook, 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 the sound of like 3 shots to the face of Mike. I turn around and I'm like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah, so we rolled through that. We both killed the first boss in the DLC and moved on to the dragon. And
F Dragons.
I'd like to think I'm pretty okay at playing Dark Souls at this point, and I have never been able to fight any of the dragons in any way resembling.
They're not easy. They're not.
I know they're not easy, but it's like the black dragon in the Dark Souls 1 DLC. Like that was like one of the few bosses where I'm like, I have to summon help because there's no way I'm gonna do this on my own. And this felt pretty similar. You got a huge arena and a big ass dragon that wants to, fuck up your world, and he did. Both by landing on me and torching my face with poison fire, and generally is a bad time all around. But Dark Souls is awesome.
It is.
And now beating the core game is checked off my bucket list. Bring on Bloodborne, I say.
Bring on New Game Plus.
I'll snap, son.
Ouch.
We gonna roll New Game Plus too?
Yeah, man. As soon as we get through all the DLC, we go wait till the end of September.
Yeah, that's all right. It'll probably be the end of September before we beat that dragon.
So Jason, other than Dark Souls 2, what have you been playing?
I've played through PT. Kind of mentioned that before. And I agree with Mike. It's a great horror game. That if this is even like a fraction of what they're going to do with Silent Hills, I think they've gone back to a formula that works for that genre, and something that I think would be really interesting to do with it, as opposed to what we've seen over the past few years with it, where it's just been like, hey, let's use stuff from the movies, and like that. I mean, it's a cool effect, like the air raid siren and the walls melting. Like you go back, you watch the movie, it's a really cool effect. It's a really cool world that they set up for the movie. It doesn't work so well though for the games as much, because there's more going on in the games. Like, I mean, the one thing that I've always read about them, why people like the second one so much, is that it wasn't so much about a necessarily straight up horror game as it was like a psychological horror. I mean, the representations of the monsters are manifestations of the main character's psyche. So
which is why enemies from that game appearing in other games makes no sense.
Right, so I mean, like, there's meaning to it, and then the other games are just like, we'll just toss all this stuff in because people really liked it. It's like, well, that doesn't really, what they liked about it was the way it was done, and what they're showing so far doesn't have, like, these aren't monsters that are representative, and there really aren't actually even any monsters. But they're not representative. I mean, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's a representation of what you hear from the environment, like what the story. Like if you just stop and you let yourself kind of take in some of what's there's a lot of background to the environment itself, and that sets up what you experience.
So what it is someone I'm cribbing this from someone else, just nailing it on the head. PT is basically Gone Home if it actually was a horror game, like it kind of presents itself as. Like it is nothing but environmental storytelling, and it's told via a single hallway and 2 doors.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. That is all the game is, and the game is scary as fuck. So, I definitely think you should take a look at it.
And I say this: take a stab at it, get through as far as you can, and then don't feel bad about going and looking up some solution because they have some real, just absolute BS puzzles towards the end of the thing. They do a pixel hunt, which is never good in even like the best of games, and a game like this where you're like high tens and stuff like that, it just makes it that much more.
And one of the puzzles involves the options menu.
Yeah. And then, like, the very final puzzle, I mean, like, I appreciate the fact that they didn't want this to be necessarily an easy reveal, but it was sort of like they really obscured the solution to it. It's like how you even stumble upon it beats the hell out of me because I couldn't even think of how would some person think to do this and then do this, and then if you follow it up with this, it's nothing that's readily apparent from just playing what they have there, but... definitely check it out.
Yeah, Locke especially.
Yeah,
once your PS4 arrives with Destiny.
Oh yeah.
I'm so stoked.
Aside from that, I played a little bit of Road Not Taken, which was on PS Plus for this month.
Did you like that?
Yeah, what's that all about?
I go back and forth. Like I wasn't
I don't
really
think I like it.
sure about what it was, and then I kind of like, okay, I get what it is.
Okay, can you explain what it is, though? Because I don't know what it is.
It's a rogue puzzle game.
Okay.
So, like, you go across a few different screens, and you have the ability to pick things up and move them, like trees or creatures, or and what you're trying to do is rescue children who are out there in the cold. So you can pick them up, and then you can also fling them. And basically, when you fling them, they go in a straight line out from you until they hit another object, or they go to the next screen, because you can clear screens. So the puzzle elements of it are, each time you go to a new screen, you're either going to have to get the children to the mothers that are there,
yep,
or do that, and also try and align a few different objects to open up a new path, or just open up a new path.
Right.
It's if Triple Town was a roguelike. Like it has, like if you've ever played that weird puzzle game.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. All right.
The other thing it has is so you can move stuff out of the way. Like you need to put 3 trees together to open a door, but you can also do stuff like if you have a log and you combine it with another log, you make fire.
Or if
and
you take
you can craft different things in the environment by combining them, and it's interesting, but the way everything is controlled bothers me heavily. Like the side, so if I approach something and I pick it up, I have picked it up from the side that I came to it from. So if I'm to the left of it, I pick it up, it's held to my right, and I can never throw it any other way but right.
Weird.
So, like, you have to really oddly plan your moves. Like, if you could just rotate the thing around you, the difficulty in the game would be almost erased.
And I'm sure that's probably why they have it set that way. So it, because the other part of it is when you pick stuff up and move with it, it reduces like your
energy
mana bar for lack of anything else. And so when that mana bar goes away, then you pass out or die or whatever.
And you start the entire game over because roguelike.
Exactly. So you can pick stuff up, you can walk with it for a little bit. It does drain your energy by doing so. So it's sort of, you have to plan it out carefully that if you are going to pick this up and move a few steps this way so you can fling it at something so you can get around to another side of it, is that the right way? And you can't, later on, like the first couple levels, it's pretty generous, but later on, you have to really be careful about how you're using your energy. So it's interesting. It's it's a very different kind of a game. There's a lot of different elements at play. It's tough for me to really recommend one way or the other.
It's free right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a PS Plus member, I mean, it's worth checking out. Tycho actually from Penny Arcade had a really good post about it and talking just about how there's so many different systems at play. That's the kind of game that someone who really enjoys diving deep into games is going to have a great time with it. For a lot of other folks, they'll just get turned off right away probably, and I think that's a fairly accurate summation of it. Aside from that, I briefly, because it just arrived today, picked up Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil for the PlayStation 4.
Did you guys see Nick's stream of that, or like his recording of that in 60 FPS?
No.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's butter.
It almost sold me a copy of the game.
Yeah. It's insane.
Almost.
It's very interesting going from the PC version to the console version, and I really wanted to pick it up and play it like a twin-stick shooter, and I was like, why am I rolling? Why am I dodging? What is this dodge thing I suddenly have the ability to do? But once I kind of got comfortable with the controls, I really like it. I didn't feel like I would. I didn't feel like this would be a game that I would say it can go beyond the click, 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 click sort of mouse thing, but it plays really well. And they've even kind of arcaded it up a little bit. So
Yep.
In the PC version, at least the last time I played it back in June or whenever, if you got multiple like destructible objects in the environment, right, and you get a little chain of those going, it gives you like a little bonus XP, just flat out bonus XP. In the console version, if you do that, it actually gives you a boost to speed for a limited time, so you actually move faster. If you use the environment traps to kill enemies and you kill so many of them, you actually boost your resource regeneration for a brief time. So they've built systems into it to make it even more sort of, rather than just go around and kill everything, it's like use what's there or destroy objects to kind of help boost yourself, which is an interesting way to kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely built for speed overall. Like, you're always, like, the things that you get are trying to entice you to go through it faster. Like, the white globes give you double damage now almost every time, right? Instead of refilling whatever your thing is for your character. So, it's kind of making you fight through the monsters faster. And, like you said, the speed bonuses and... The one thing I really like is on the massacres that you do, your combos, more or less. There's a nice little ticking rope there, or like a burning rope to show you how long you have until it falls off again, and you can keep it going, and kind of keep that up. So
And that gives you then an experience multiplier now instead of a flat out, And I think it looks like it's at the end of it, so like if you go through and you kill a bunch of enemies, once you start that going, it starts keeping track of what enemies you kill, and then at the end of it, it drops a bonus of however much times experience, like 1.5 or 1.75 or 2 times experience on all those.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's got awesome couch co-op.
It does, yeah.
Like, I'm assuming, well, I've only played it on the PS3 last year, but the couch co-op in it is just, it's great. Like, keeping everybody to a single screen actually works to its advantage, rather than when you play co-op on the PC and everyone can just spread out.
Yeah.
Like, it keeps everyone focused. It doesn't let you do some of the wonderful hacks that people figured out about adventure mode on the PC, but I guess we'll see. I'm mostly interested in it because they said it's going to start receiving the same patches as the PC.
Ooh.
So, like, as new features roll out on the PC, it will eventually make its way to the console.
For the Xbox One, though, right? Or did they announce that for the PlayStation 4, too?
It's one of them. I don't remember which one.
The Xbox One they made a big deal about, but I think it's both, actually,
Gotcha.
that are getting that. So, yeah, by the way, I thought we were going to stream before this podcast. What happened?
Yeah, life happened. I had to go run some errands. We can try again tomorrow, though.
All right.
Maybe I'll pick it up and we'll all play.
Sounds good. So I did actually stream a little bit before the podcast, and we had a few people watching and walk through some of the new things. Anyway,
Fun.
what else have you been playing? Anything else, Jason?
That's pretty much about it, aside from Dark Souls.
Okay. Mr. Locke, what about you?
Um, playing some Dragon's Crown because I didn't play that yet, and it's a pretty fun brawler. Again, I'm in because I'm new to it. I don't really know what I'm doing in with regards to skilling and that sort of thing. But I figure, kind of play through it, figure it out. It's beautiful. I mean, I like this style of vanillaware games, and not a ton of brawlers out right now, so I'm definitely enjoying Dragon's Crown. I haven't played it enough to run into the grind yet, so we'll see what happens after I've played for a couple more hours and see how if I keep enjoying it. I'm curious to see what happens and what the feedback loop on that game is like. So
Yeah, the grind is weird.
yeah, it seems weird. Playing lots of Dota, playing some War Machine Tactics because they sent out beta keys for that.
Sweet.
That's a pretty cool game. I had the benefit of playing the tabletop game at PAX once, and I had there's a handler there, or probably an employee of. I'm not too sure. He knew what he was doing with regards to the game. He might have been from Privateer Press or something like that. But that game's cool. It's got a really cool Warhammer alternative Warhammer feel to it. Warhammer 40K, that is. Because there's Space Marines, but they feel like musket men guys, and it's your sort of standard strategy RPG with each you get an army, and you have a certain amount of points allotted to that army, and these war machines obviously take up more points than say just an infantryman. So it is very similar to the tabletop game, both War Machines, as well as this happens in Warhammer, where you base your team around, say you have 30 loadout points, and maybe one team has 4 mechs and only 4 guys, but this other team only has 2 mechs and the other guy has 12 guys. So that's how the kind of team is structured. There's 4 different races with very, very different units. It's pretty cool. And in terms of playability, I mean, it plays really well so far for a beta. I mean, I played the campaign. I haven't done a versus match yet, but first couple levels get you into it, being like, hey, this is how you use an ability, and holds your hand, which is good for this type of game because there are a lot of systems in place and a lot of things going on with regards to positioning.
Did they?
That.
Sorry, keep going.
No, I was just going to say, with regards to positioning and making sure your guys are facing the right way and that sort of thing. They have a lot of UI things to clean up, but of course, being in beta and all, that I would hope that would come later.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I haven't dived back into it, although I've seen it again updated recently. But have they fixed any of the graphics thing? Because I know if I let it run at high resolution or whatever their max settings are, it just chugs. And
I didn't have any issues on full settings, and I played probably for an hour constantly. So, yeah, fun game. I mean, like I said, I wanted to see that game. I like the idea of tabletop games, but I'm not willing to invest time or money into them. So I like when they get ported as video games. So yeah, this is pretty cool for strategy RPG fans, and yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm excited to see where this goes.
With all that they've done with Dawn of War and all those kinds of things, I'm surprised that there haven't been more effort in microtransactions. There hasn't been more efforts to digitize these tabletop games. Because I think Mike and I would be the first people on board with
especially because these games can be put on iPads and Androids and Nexus and that sort of thing. They translate perfectly because you don't need to have split-second decisions, which is, in my eyes, the most important thing with a mobile game. So that means board games, card games, tabletop games all translate really well. So that's War Machine Tactics. Check it out. They sent out their beta codes. The other thing is Shadowrun Online, which we're going to stream shortly when we find a hot date. Very different. I found it very different from just the Shadowrun, the remake that came out. What is that, Returns?
Yeah.
Yeah. I only played it very briefly, just to
Yeah.
make sure it worked, and we will hook up soon.
Everyone
To
grab
me, it
yourself.
felt a little, I guess, a little XCOM-y, at least right at first.
I felt it was a little light. And again, still, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done my homework on the game. I don't know how far along development they are, but it felt super light.
Yeah, no, it's not. I wouldn't say in terms of depth, but in terms of like what it plays like
yeah,
just
yeah.
the way like sprinting will eat up all your moves and all that stuff. So,
In that sense, it definitely plays like XCOM. You have like your 3 actions, 3 attacks, and then in terms of you get 1 move, and then you can attack or you can use your full turn for a run. They have a couple different. I played like a horde mode, a challenge mode, and then I also played like just a mission. The mission was pretty cool. It was fun. It was like, go here, infiltrate this, kill these guys. The horde mode was next to impossible. They gave you three heroes or Shadowrunners to control, and they just had waves and waves of guys coming in. And I think I got through like 1 wave. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I'm excited to try the co-op because I think Shadowrun is one of my favorite IPs, and I don't feel that there's a ton of great cyberpunk games out there.
mhm.
I mean, the last one we had was sitting on my shelf. What the hell is that? What's the one where you can make the weapons feedback? Syndicate.
Yeah.
The Syndicate remake was all right, but that was a first-person shooter, mind you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that co-op. See what happens. Again,
Is it the same dev team as Shadowrun Returns?
no, it's
No.
different. It's 2 different games. So they had separate Kickstarters, so I'm assuming it's different teams.
I used to GM the pen and paper Shadowrun back in the
Nice.
day, so
Nice.
I have a very strong affinity for that IP.
Yeah.
I want it to be good. I like Shadowrun Returns well enough, but I don't know. That game felt really sluggish to me.
It did. I think for how much money they got to make that game, I think they did a really good job. But yeah, again, it's not exactly where I want it to be. And I keep going back to this reference, and I think I want like the engine from Lara Croft, Guardian of Light, but with cyberpunk stuff. Like, I think that, in my eyes, is a really cool multiplayer sort of action strategy RPG. So
That would be a really cool combination.
I would also like CD Projekt's Cyberpunk 2088 to actually come out.
yeah, instead of just existing.
It is
in
the
backs of our
same
minds.
team. What do you know?
Is it?
Yeah.
Hairbrain? Is it
Hairbrain Schemes?
Yeah, because it's
Oh.
all run. They have like a whole Shadowrun universe website, and it's all Catalyst, Cliffhanger, Hairbrain Schemes, under
Oh.
license from yada yada yada. But
Is
yeah.
Mitch Gittleman still involved with all that? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Cool. Well, interesting. I'm
see it.
looking forward to seeing how Shadowrun Online pans out, and we'll like I said, we're gonna stream probably within the next week here.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, just hanging out, playing lots of Dota.
Cool.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I haven't been gaming all that much. A Dota match a night, maybe something like that. I played about 2 hours of Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition, and then what did we stream last week? We streamed that Dungeons Eye of Draconis game, and speaking of you were talking about brawlers, Block. Check that out. And what was the other one? We played Tango Fiesta. Played a little bit of that.
Both of those are early access, right?
Yeah.
Actually, the Dungeons game was released.
Oh, that's right. That was released.
But
That
the
was a
Tango
green
Fiesta
light.
is like alpha. So we had
They,
issues with
they
both
both
of them.
they both had charm in their own way.
Yeah, I saw that the Dungeons game got like 4 big patches since launch.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a lot of the issues that we had, they kind of fixed, mostly with like multiplayer desyncs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a quote on the store for Dungeons Eye of Draconis. Says, under reviews, I definitely chuckled numerous times and found the humor more than adequate. from Co-Optimus.
That's awesome.
So I don't know who did that.
It was probably me because I
That was you. That's
posted the news story like
That
when I
is
more
posted
than
our
adequate.
stream.
That's what you really want to put as a box.
It's
Okay.
it's got this weird like potty humor and like potty and sex humor vibe that like Nick sent out the keys, we downloaded it, and was like, we're gonna stream this game. I was like, right on. Fired it up, and then there's a skeleton with a ball gag at the character select screen, and then there's like achievements called like cock gobbler and a bunch of other really random things. I was like, I was not prepared to encounter this on a live stream. I probably needed to do a little homework before coming to that, because that's the kind of humor I specialize in. But when it is presented to me suddenly, sometimes I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the game's pretty cool. For the $6 it is. It's definitely entertaining.
And it actually plays pretty well too.
Yeah,
we had the multiplayer desync issues, but like when everything was rolling, it was definitely very much Golden Axe, and that is exactly what they said they were making. So it's exactly what they said they'd make.
Yeah, there's one part in it when you're at like the campsite at night, like it is in Golden Axe, and all the little gnomes come and they try and steal your stuff. But what happens is, as you wake up and you fight them, you set the gnomes on fire and you kick them into the forest, and the forest catches on fire, and it turns into this whole big kind of like massacre thing. And it's just like, okay, if that's what you want to do for your little your interlude.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like I said, $6, kind of funny. 3-player online co-op. And I think local.
Do a lot worse with $6.
Yeah, really. So anyway, let's move on, and let's talk about some of the news going on, and we'll start with the big one. Evolve is being pushed out of the fall season this year and being pushed to February of this year.
What?
Or of next year, I should say. So yeah, there's a slight delay there, which is surprising because the game has been doing really well at all the shows. It won a ton of awards at E3. Gamescom just ended. It ended up winning the Game of Show at Gamescom. We played it at E3 and really liked what we played. And really liked what they were going to do with it. So Chris actually posted a pretty interesting editorial about the game and whether it can kind of do what Left 4 Dead did for co-op gaming, in terms of moving, maybe, I don't want to say creating a genre, but really setting it aside. And we already are starting to see some other 4v1 kind of games.
Shadow Realms.
Yes, so BioWare announced a game, and it's a 4v1 kind of RPG.
And the Fable one.
It's
the same.
Game. Yeah. So
Just waiting for Randy Pitchford to announce his 4v1 on Twitter.
Oh, he already has hobby grade co-op, so I mean, he's way ahead of it. And he also actually, on Twitter today, he actually officially said that the next Borderlands pre-sequel is actually going to have every single feature multiplayer-wise that Borderlands 2 did. Not that should come as a surprise, but it's nice to know.
Okay. That's good. So yeah, if you're looking for Evolve this fall, that was one of many games that have actually been delayed. I think that was late October, I think was the original release date, and now it's like February 10th or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not too long. You have to wait. But there'll be other games to play, like a certain game coming out in just a couple of weeks. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about Destiny and something that was revealed in that?
So, Destiny, we've all played it. We've all done like the fire team co-op missions and whatnot. And kind of, it's a quasi MMO, I guess. Like you are either playing with other players or not, and you really don't have a choice unless you unplug your PS4 from the internet. And so one of the things they announced, like with MMO type games, you often wonder what the end game is going to be, because you do the big level grind, you complete the story, you do everything there is, and then all right, now what's there to do? And Call of Duty games, you prestige over and over again, in Destiny, they revealed that they have a rating system, and much like any other MMO, rating is larger scale player versus environment content that is hyper challenging, and you need good gear to do. And the interesting thing is that while the rest of Destiny is, you can make a 3-player fire team and roll through missions, or you can just encounter other players in the field when you're doing the explore mode and the single-player missions. The rating is going to be 6 players, so twice as many players, and it is restricted to you inviting friends.
Okay.
So it will not let you random up to raid, which is an interesting choice. But we all know that the best part of Halo ever had no matchmaking in Firefight.
Yeah.
There was no matchmaking in Firefight, and that was by far the best time I had with any Halo game, I would say. So I kind of trust their ability to make something that is awesome without matchmaking, but I guess they'll have to see what the longevity is in Destiny to see if that ends up being opened up to a matchmaking feature later on, because if it was any game that has like an in-game friends list, if you're trying to organize a group of people and nobody's playing the game, then it's a lot harder to get that going. So if they can keep people in the cycle of playing Destiny, right on.
Yeah, definitely. And 6 players isn't a ton that you'll have to find. It's not like it's a 10 or 15 player raid, so it could be doable.
Interesting, they're all sold out of the limited and ghost editions of that game across the board.
Yeah.
What do you get with those?
Tchotchkes.
I mean, the ghost edition, you get like a little plastic ghost that lights up, like a map or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of
art stuff.
digital goods too.
Stuff that like I kept on going back and forth. I was like, do I really care about this? I don't think I really care about this. Now I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. It's gone.
Yeah.
Makes it easy. So, Jason, why don't you tell us about this interesting new feature coming to the PlayStation 4?
That's a feature.
It's actually something I think they talked about when the PlayStation 4 was unveiled.
It was.
Back in New York.
Yeah. This is something that, like, for the longest time, because they announced what it is called SharePlay, and what it's supposed to be is that it's like a virtual couch for you and your friends. So if you want to invite a friend to come like watch you play, and then maybe they can hop on and play, they can kind of take control and play the game for a little bit, they can do that. And they showed this like Nick was saying, like at E3 or whatever. Is
that the PS4 announcement, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was the announcement. Yeah,
they showed this feature, and I remember when I got it, I was just like, well, where is it? And then it was, this is not yet installed. So they're finally ready to put this out in patch 2.0 when that hits. So the one thing about it is it does allow someone who does not own the game to jump in and play it if you have it. What it sounds like, though, is that time will be limited. We've heard some reports, I guess, of like an hour, basically, of play time. So I don't know if that's like an hour of play time and then they're permanently locked out. If it's, you get 60 minutes kind of demo and then you're done. And if you want it from there, you have to buy it. Or if it's, 60 minutes in a day cycle, it's not really clear yet how they're allowing the sharing to occur.
Have your friends upvoted on Facebook to get some energy back.
Oh my goodness.
Don't even joke
They'll make
about that.
literally tens of dollars.
Insert your quarters into the front of the PlayStation 4.
I'm throwing my money at it and it's not working.
But, so it'll be interesting to hear what they do more with it. But the idea of it is pretty cool because it allows... and it's something that I would think if they'd be able to check and see if both people own the game, it allows for some of those games that are local co-op only to actually then essentially have online co-op.
I mean, they use that in their blog post on the PlayStation blog and talked about local co-op games specifically as like an example.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obvious they have that in mind. So hopefully the time limit, like you said, that's a good point. Like if you both own it, there shouldn't be a time limit on it.
So this is going to sound like a snide question, but I'm honestly curious. Are they going to have this work with PlayStation Now? Like, I rent a game to play via streaming.
Yeah.
They need to get PlayStation Now working first.
Yeah.
No, they need to make PlayStation Now not have a fucked up price.
Yeah.
They're working on it. They're working on it.
I don't know, $30 for a game to rent for 90 days, costing $10 more than buying the game brand new.
Or just waiting.
That's kind of messed up.
Wait 1 month and then it's that price.
Yeah, there's a lot of this crap going around. I just saw today, the whole EA Pass thing that was announced. We didn't really talk about it, but EA announced something called EA Pass. Basically, it was $5 a month, or I think
$30 a year.
Yeah.
It's EA Access, isn't it?
EA Access. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you get basically access to, right now. It's 2 older sports titles. You get FIFA 14 and Madden 25. Access to Battlefield 3 or 4. 4.
Yeah.
And then there was one other, like Peggle or something like that. And then that's called the Vault, and they're gonna add games to the Vault every so often and stuff. But the big perk was you get early access to the new sports games, up to 5 days early. For instance, with Madden's coming out in like 2 weeks. So you get access to Madden 5 days early, and then your progress would transfer over when you purchase the full version of Madden.
Hope you only plan on playing an hour a day.
Yes, exactly. So that's what came out today, was the early access is limited to only 6 hours of playtime, which the people I know that would want that and play Madden play like 6 hours a day. So, yeah, kind of ruffled some feathers there. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that and what the blowback is.
Well, and I think people are more angry because they already had an existing program that gave pre-release access to their sports games, a couple days early, and it was unrestricted. So
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of thing where I think people are making a huge deal out of it, but it's a much like PlayStation Now with its with all of its problems. These are like open betas.
Can I ask, I'm really curious, what is the point of pre-releasing a sports game?
To play it before everybody else.
So what? I mean,
that's
like,
why everybody wants a game day one, isn't it? To play, or before day one, they get a retailer that leaks it out early. I'm the only one playing it. Oh boy, look at me.
but that's one of those things, like, it doesn't make sense that if you're going to pre-release, like, there are some games where it's like, okay, you get pre-release and you can get in there and you start playing through the story or you start doing through stuff before others. For a sports game, which is entirely about, like, the online aspects or whatever, so the only people that you're going to be playing with are the people who are really into it, right? Who are really into, let's get into the league mode and everything else with those sports games, right?
Yeah.
Why not just release it early then? Why do this whole just release it that day if those are
Because how else are they going to make you pay $30 a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the online stuff. I've got a lot of friends that they just play their Madden seasons. Like they'll play, the Indianapolis Colts from 2014 to 2030, wherever the game ends a franchise, like over the course of a year. Like that's what they do. They don't touch the online. The only thing they care about is roster updates and stuff like that. Like there's a good portion of gamers that's how they play their sports games, and that's good enough for them.
So
And
if
especially
they don't
with-
care about the online, then why does it matter if it comes out 3 days early?
Here, let me put this into a little
Unless it
bit.
goes onto a weekend. Like if it comes out on a weekend, then I understand, because then that's like prime gaming time for stuff.
Well, so let me use FIFA as an example, and I think Nick will agree with me here. The biggest game mode in FIFA is the Ultimate Team. It is basically a mode where you play a whole bunch, and you buy packs of players, and you build a fantasy team. And the more packs you open, and the more points you've accumulated to open packs, the better team you have. And that is a mode that is primarily played online, so having the game 6 days early will let you build a team that will stomp the shit out of a bunch of people that are just playing it on day one, so you can sit there and gloat about how awesome you are. Yeah. It's like if you get Call of Duty or Battlefield a bunch of days early, you unlock all this stuff that no one has yet, you're going to have a competitive advantage. So there is, to the type of person that would want to play it early, there is a very big impetus to do so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do they sneak trading card game elements into FIFA?
Oh God, yeah.
It's been there. It's been there for years.
Yeah, FIFA has it, NHL has it, Madden has it.
They've had it. They've had it in some form since the PS2 days.
That's why there was all
I'm so amused by that.
The Xbox hacking stuff was coming from all the European
FIFA
folks trying to hack accounts to get money to buy the FIFA packs, because you can buy it with in-game dollars or you can buy it with real dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that all came from. So
ridiculous.
So yeah.
Anyway, let's end
ridiculous.
Let's end this on a brotastic note. And Locke,
bros.
Tell us about the latest in bro technology.
Well, they've enhanced it greatly with a hilarious crossover. The mighty fine folks at Broforce, who we talked to at E3, might have been my favorite interview because there was guitar solos and eagles and American flags. But yeah, they got a crossover with Expendables. Because Expendables came out a couple days ago, and they now have a bunch of the cast in Broforce, which is only appropriate because the cast of Expendables is made up of old action stars. So now they're in there. So we got guys like Jason Statham,
Dolph Lundgren,
which is a big one. Rambo is already in the game, but they have Sylvester Stallone's character from Expendables in it, who's a different character. Arnold's in there. He's also already in Broforce, but just different characters. So that is available. You can grab that until the end of the year, which is interesting. It's funny to have a time limit on that, but they have a sort of side DLC set of missions with the Expendabros. So you can grab that on Steam, which is available now.
Nice.
It's fun. I mean, Broforce is just like, I'm still so surprised that it isn't like fully released yet, because it's just like one of those fun games you can hop in, play around. So I'm just really curious to see what they change. And it's coming out next May?
Yeah, that's what they said they were targeting. Yeah.
But I mean, when I played, it felt like a finished game. So
should I play it?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's tons of fun.
It is fun and stupid and fast.
One time here.
Is it more fun than Mercenary Kings?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's way more fast and quick. And,
Mercenaries Kings is great for the first few levels until you realize how much you have to grind, and then you're like,
Yeah, I think that was Mercenary Kings was a game I was really looking forward to, and I think it's beautiful. Like, all the things I wanted to like about it, I love. Like, it's beautiful, plays exactly like I thought it was going to, and then it's a crafting game, and I was like, I don't really want to gather materials.
I didn't sign up for Monster Hunter.
It's like, this is the reason I put down Monster Hunter games, and now I'm putting down Mercenary Kings.
But yeah,
even though the soundtrack is rad and it's beautiful and plays well.
Same theme, but they're on totally different ends of the spectrum in terms of pacing. So, and I
think I also confuse Broforce with Super Time Force.
Those are actually very similar.
Yeah.
Super Time.
I always for some reason whenever I saw screenshots of one, I thought it was the other. So.
Well, they got the lo-fi pixel thing going on, but well, those two I actually prefer over not. What's the one we just talked about?
Mercenary Kings.
Sorry. That forgettable game.
Broforce is great because it's just, you can get in there, you play, and like you can play through 3 levels, and it takes you like 5 minutes, and then you're out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you die, you just restart right away. It's just, it's perfect. It's a great little arcade pickup and play.
Yeah, we'll stream it soon. We'll do a Broforce night.
Nice.
So, one quick thing. Co-op's likely to return in the next Mass Effect. It was unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con. Some details about the game. The Mako's coming back. It sounds like it's going to be a customizable vehicle. Sounds like your character might have some customization.
All right. You said Mako, and that's like the worst part of any of the Mass Effect games.
Oh,
yeah,
I
it'll be
disagree.
interesting to see what they do with that.
The ending doesn't count, Jason.
The planet scanning thing was kind of the replacement for that, which it was cool to some degree, but the Mako was more hands-on. We'll see what they do. Again, that's basically all they said. They haven't said how it was going to be used or whatever. But the big news was a question was asked about multiplayer, and they had said our focus isn't on competitive; it's solely on co-op. But that was all they said.
That's because they make so much money.
Yeah, that mode was not only a good moneymaker, it was really well received.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't have been as good as it was, but it was. I thought it was brilliantly put together. I remember, I gave it a really good review, but it's surprise. Like part of how good it was how surprising it was. Yeah. Like it worked. Like I didn't think the way Mass Effect's combat worked, especially having replayed like Mass Effect 1 and just how clunky everything felt. And then 2 and 3 both progressively became better shooters. And then by the time they got really good at making shooter, they added the co-op, and it just worked really well. And the fact that everyone's abilities could combo off each other, it just made the tactical stuff really great.
I think I played Mass Effect multiplayer more than I played Gears of War Horde mode, which is
same here.
Yeah, a testament to that. Like that, and I love Gears, and Horde mode was awesome. But like, there was something about they had the carrot on the stick at that perfect length, and you always got a new gun or a new character or something in the right amount of time, and you had to practice a little bit and get better at it because it was challenging at those higher difficulties.
Yep.
Working on silver runs and getting good at that, and then being able to level up your guys so you can start doing gold runs and actually having to try in that sort of mode. Whereas, other Horde modes kind of like, you put down a shield, you kind of sit here and do that, and it's not too hard. So, yeah, I love Mass Effect.
It discouraged turtling, which is what other Horde modes encourage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's good news. We didn't have any big feature discussion to talk about. I threw down an editorial I had written about free-to-play games and kind of how they're finally, I think, being taken more seriously. I think quite a few companies have figured it out, how to make a good free-to-play game and not gouge gamers and make people want to spend money.
Maybe you do. It's a win for you. It's not a win for me.
If your free-to-play game is like Path of Exile or Dota 2, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You're gonna win.
If your free-to-play game is like
Candy Crush or I don't know.
Candy Crush Saga or Clash of Clans or a lot of the stuff on iOS, you're a price-grabbing asshole. And your company should be ashamed of itself. You're preying on children at that point.
It's
children.
Kind of interesting. I started the article out with some quotes from John Romero because he's been in the news lately. But he had some interesting points about how back in the 90s the shareware thing kind of took off, and a lot of companies did that. Giving away a piece of it for free, and then you could buy the full thing essentially. And very few free-to-play games really follow that model, where they lock you out of the content. But this is kind of the new equivalent of it. Like, if you can get the game in people's hands, then the chances of them actually spending money for you is greater than putting up the paywall immediately, like in the beginning. That's kind of the point of that, right? Is don't block them out, give them access, and eventually the people are going to come. So I think there's, we went through, where's the list on here? We had a good, I'd say 10 free-to-play games, and almost all of them had co-op, and I think are decent. The ones we listed, Dota 2, Hearthstone, which is rumored to be getting a co-op adventure mode, Warframe, which Jason, I know you're a pretty big fan of, and they've done a pretty good job. Some of the stuff might have been a little too grindy, but more or less, what you have access to is a ton of content. The game, the quote-unquote story itself, and things like that.
Well, and they keep expanding upon it now that they've got that freaking
space combat thing,
combat mode
going. It's cool, yeah. That video was
did that drop?
I don't think it's out yet.
Did they just announce that today?
It was announced at Gamescom apparently, but we missed it. But that's looking slick. So there's gonna be some co-op space combat. It looks like. When I saw the video for it, it reminded me of what was the there's a PC game. Oh God, Mike, you played it and you thought it was pretty decent. Where you kind of like you kind of transform between the ship and the robot, and oh God, it's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway,
It's not Strike Suit.
yeah, a little bit like Strike Suit is like that kind of combat.
Oh God, what is it? Now it's gonna bother me. It was free to play.
No, not the space combat game, but that wasn't free to play. But that's just kind of what the Warframe thing looked like a little bit.
Oh yeah, it was Strike Suit Zero.
Yeah.
That it was a flight, basically a space combat flight sim. Then you would transform to a Gundam and shoot millions of rockets out.
Yeah.
That game is pretty cool, but hard as hell.
Yeah, like the Gundam mode in that looks like what Warframe's doing with the space combat.
So it's like Zone of the Enders.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So also on the list, Hawken, which we've played a couple times and really enjoying that. Planetside 2 is one I've really been kind of itching to try. I've heard lots of good things, people saying the combat, and that's pretty fun, and it's huge, massively multiplayer online battles and stuff like that. Path of Exile, Mike, you've been.
I love the crap out of that game. That game
saying
is.
good things about it for a long time, and they've been doing a really good job of.
They just announced their second expansion.
Yeah. I think Team Fortress 2 is obviously one of the bigger PC games that kind of started that. It was a pay-for-play game, but then they went free to play thanks to hats, and the whole thing took off. And then everybody's like, "Well, look at what Valve's doing. Maybe we can do it too." And then of course League of Legends raking in the big bucks there too. So
and that was another game that converted from retail box to free to play, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Did League originally come as a full product?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I mean that's like 10 games right there. There's tons of others. There's a tag on the site if you're searching for games, for just finding games that are free to play. We keep them tagged, and
stuff like even if you want to expand out into MMOs, I mean quality MMOs like the Old Republic, that's free to play now.
Yeah, and there's some big ones coming. I'm just pulling up the list. We have like Fortnite's coming from Epic, which is kind of their Minecraft action sort of a game. There's some other good ones like Marvel Heroes. I've heard some pretty decent things about that.
It's okay.
Yeah. What else we got here? Sins of a Dark Age. I don't know what that is. There's the new Settlers game that came out not too long ago. Turn-based online stuff. Then you got your war faces. Your
can you show me your war face, Nick?
Yeah, there's Air Mech Arena, which just came out on Xbox 360. That's kind of turn-based. I think it's turn-based like mech combat kind of a thing.
World of Tanks. That's free to play.
Yeah, World of Tanks is huge.
Yeah.
I've got a couple friends. There's a couple people I know that don't really game that play World of Tanks. It's kind of weird. Like they'll ask me, they're like, "Oh, I hear you play games. We play World of Tanks." Okay, what else do you play? No, we just play World of Tanks.
Just World of Tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, Wargaming.net's got that giant-ass booth at E3 and PAX all the time. There are a lot of people that play those.
Someone's got to be funding that, yeah.
They let me pull the press release quick because they just announced a here it is. They just reached 100 million registered players across all of their console, PC, and mobile. So
and think of the common free-to-play stats that's like 1% to 2% actually
put money in.
Yeah.
Actually put a reasonable amount of money in, and 100 million, 2% of that. Yeah. There's 2 million people spending dollars on your game.
Yeah,
constantly.
It's pretty insane, but it works, and hey, it's the few funding the many, I guess, and if that's what it takes to get more people into gaming and to play games, so be it. All right, let's move on. And we had an interesting voicemail. I don't know if you guys listened to it. I did link it in the show notes.
It's Lane from Illinois.
Yeah, Lane from Illinois. Let me pull up the...
Hey, that's a new guy.
Yeah, I know. But he had...
Not that we don't appreciate you, Roy from Philly.
It was a different kind of a voicemail because he had a
kinder, gentler voicemail.
idea for a co-op game. It wasn't anything specific, but rather a play style or an option. And basically his idea was to take the average of the controllers being used in the game and make that what happens to the character on the screen. So,
Jesus Christ, it's like Mario Party.
So I was thinking about it, and there's certain games this actually kind of happens in already, or at least like I'm
I can
thinking.
name 2 examples.
Okay, Robotron 2084, the re-release of that, which it was out on Xbox Live Arcade, and I think they put out a PC version. But in that, one player would control the movement while the other player controlled the shooting direction. So you had to have some coordination between the two. You could never directly affect both things, but having the 2 players kind of work together, it's like left half, right half brain kind of thing going on there. It's like kind of reminded me of it. What were you thinking of, Mike?
So the biggest and most recent example of it is actually Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. There are a handful of levels where all 4 players are riding the same vehicle, and all the players have to synchronize their control movements to steer the vehicle, and the game actually averages it out.
They do that in the Donkey Kong game on
and they did it. They've been doing that in I think the only one I know for sure that does it is the first Mario Party. Some of the 2v2 games work that way. It's an interesting idea. It seems to me very hard to get right.
Yeah.
Like Mario 3D World, there were definitely times when I was really yelling at people to get their shit together, so the dragon would not slide off of the course when you had to do the power slide. But it is interesting, and I really like out of the box thinking in terms of co-op. Like I've mentioned it before, but one of the best co-op games that's not really co-op is Brothers. Like that's ostensibly a co-op game, but you're controlling both people at once. So I think it's really.
It'd be interesting to see it done in a first-person shooter. Like it wouldn't take, as a developer, it shouldn't take much to implement something like that. If you're literally just taking the averages of the inputs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it could be potentially hilarious, also extremely frustrating. But when it works, it could also be really rewarding. I don't know. It'd have to be a very arcadey kind of a game. You couldn't do it with like a Sniper Elite or something like that, where it's pinpoint accuracy and.
Or what if they did something like the Street Pass mode in Shovel Knight, where each player takes a turn inputting a sequence of buttons, and then you have no idea what each player did, and then it's a versus mode in that game. But it's like, so I record 3 sets of like 10 seconds of action, and then that's your fight. And when you street pass other people, your fight encounters their fight, and you battle that way.
You actually just reminded me of something that just occurred recently, and that's the Twitch Plays Pokemon is essentially this.
Right? That's it. Actually, that's exactly it.
The Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Yeah, it used an algorithm to average out that each command it would roll, like it would take a couple seconds, pull everybody's commands, and then average out what won, and then that would be the accepted command.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, there was thousands of people playing it at one time, and they completed the game. They played through a bunch of them actually.
They've completed up to Jesus. I think they're almost to they were at black and white, so the DS games.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how long that takes.
Hundreds of hours per.
Yeah.
So
where
that fish is.
So Lane from Illinois, thank you for the voicemail. It is a very interesting topic.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, other than that, I think that's probably about it for the show. Anything you guys think I missed?
T-shirts.
Yes, new T-shirt store.
There it is.
We're in one.
Yes. Oh yeah, it just came today actually, just in time.
Sweet.
So,
I like that color.
How comfy is it?
It's very comfy. It's that kind of that soft, tagless cotton stuff, real stretchy, and yeah, I dig it.
Nice.
So we launched a new T-shirt store with TeePublic, and TeePublic's a website that allows the community to kind of create their own designs and publish them and stuff like that. So what's different about it this time is not only do we have our own shirt and probably more, hopefully soon. We're also like curating a store of co-op themed T-shirts made by other people. So we'll be adding stuff to there every couple of weeks, kind of taking a peek around, see what's new. And there's a couple. Let's see, there's a Dark Souls 2 shirt in there that's kind of cute. There's a couple of different ones, but what's the link? I think it's just tpublic/Co-Optimus. Let's see.
/store/Co-Optimus.
/store/Co-Optimus with a dash. So yeah, we got a Portal 1. We've got a Dota 2 one, Bubble Bobble, actually a couple of Portal 1s, some Borderlands, and then just some pretty neat things, like there was a mashup with Double Dragon and Star Wars, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are always good. But yeah, so head on over there, get yourself a T-shirt. We got multiple colors. I'm wearing a kind of a teal one. We have gray. I think. What else are we doing on?
Red.
Do we do red? I don't know if we did red.
Red.
Yeah. Red, gray, and blue.
Okay. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, it came out. I'm pretty happy with it. Seems pretty quality. Hopefully, I've had a couple. It's the same company that does T Fury, T Public. So those shirts have held up pretty well for me. I've gotten a couple of shirts over the years from T Fury. So yeah, so that's it. Let's go to the cheat code hotline. It looks like Mike is prepared with something. Mike, what do we got tonight?
I can't find my cheat code book right now because I moved some stuff around in my office, but I have an artifact, and I'd like to inform you that Star Fox 64 is coming out in June 1997, and it comes with the new N64 Rumble Pack.
Oh, the Rumble Pack for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what direct marketing was back in the 90s. I also have a Donkey Kong Country one of these lying around.
Did Star Fox need the expansion pack, or was it just Donkey Kong?
No, it came with the Rumble Pack. Donkey Kong 64 is what the expansion pack came with.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought, I've been digging through my old Nintendo Power stuff for it, and so this was the first thing I had off the top deck, and still in good condition. It's I'm kind of curious as to what's on this if I watched it again, but I don't have a
It's porn.
VR at the moment.
It's porn.
But yeah, you should check out Star Fox 64. It's a hell of a game. You can play it on 3DS.
God, that's 17 years ago.
Yes.
Over 17 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. We're old.
No.
I mean, next year Chrono Trigger is going to be 20 years old.
Shut up.
All right, let's talk voicemail. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail like Lane did, our number is 646-926-6748. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us, ask us what we should talk about, or I don't know, anything. Give us a good game idea like Lane did, and we'll discuss it. And so that's it. Co-Opticast episode 129.
Newsletter.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. I forgot about that. So yeah, we started a newsletter. You can sign up for it on the website. It's under the. I just actually moved it. We had it on the top bar. There's a Stay Connected menu item under our more content link. You can sign up for it there. We're going to do monthly newsletters. I don't know, trying something a little different. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's the show. Thanks, gentlemen, and thanks for listening.
Peace.